So let's talk about voice command in the new Toyota Tacoma. A lot of people didn't even know they had that feature. What is it and what does it do? I'm going to tell you what you have to pay for because you have to have a subscription and what you don't. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. So if you weren't aware, the new Toyota Tacoma, the 2024s and 2025s, have voice command capability. What that means is you can talk to your truck. It's pretty simple. How you wake it up is just to say, "Hey Toyota," and then you ask it to do something like the weather or navigation functions like, "Hey, take me to the closest Italian restaurant," or "What's the temperature outside?" There are many different things you can ask. Some that I found are not even in the manual, so there are surprises. I guess the best way to proceed with it is just to experiment, give it a try. Ask it something. "Hey Toyota, turn on windshield wipers."
Turning on windshield wipers.
So let's go through some of these real quick. Again, the way you initiate it, you have two ways. You can speak to the truck, "Hey Toyota," or you can push the little microphone or talk button on your steering wheel. Or there's also a search feature once you have up what it is you're looking for, like navigation, let's say. So what does it do, or what can you ask it? Well, here's a list of commands and whether or not you have to have a subscription to use these. First of all, you can say "help," and it'll show a list of general commands. Pretty simple. Now, if you want to stop, let's say you changed your mind, you don't want directions to that Italian restaurant, you'd rather go Japanese, you just say "start over." Neither one of those require subscriptions, those commands anyway. Now, if you say "cancel," it will cancel the system altogether so that you don't have the system asking you, maybe repeatedly, what you want it to do. Navigation. Now, this is where you're going to have to pay an ongoing subscription once your trial ends. Destination searches. You can say "take me to," and then list whatever you want. You can say "take me to an Italian restaurant," "take me to an address," "take me to," it says here, it's funny, 6565 Headquarters Drive in Plano, Texas. I don't know why. You can say "take me home." Very handy if you're somewhere that you don't know where you're going, right? "Take me to work," and so on. You think of it, it'll take you. Map control. This requires a subscription too. You can tell it to zoom in, you can tell it to zoom out. Route information, cancel trip. You've reached where you're at, or now you suddenly know where you're going. That does require a subscription. Telematics, call destination assist. Like if you get into trouble, kind of like OnStar, I guess. That does not require a subscription. Multimedia controls, the radio. You can say "tune to a specific station," a specific genre, or even a Sirius satellite station. That does not require a subscription. Media, mute audio, next, previous, all commands that you can say that do not require a subscription. Media streaming, play, and then an artist, an album, a genre, a playlist. You can say "play Frank Sinatra," according to the manual. I don't know that I would say that, but I'm sure there's still some fans out there. That does require a subscription. Hands-free phone operation. Probably one of the biggest uses for this, I would think. You can make a phone call. You can say "call John Smith," or whoever John Smith is in your contact list, right? Or you can say "dial a phone number," "call back," or "redial." None of those require a subscription. Messaging. You can say "send message to John Smith." You can say "read message" if you've got messages coming in. Of course, you have to have your phone linked for all of this, so hopefully your Bluetooth connection works, right? None of those require a subscription. Screen display switching. For navigation, you can say "show map." That does require a subscription, again, once your initial subscription runs out. You can say "show recent calls." No subscription required. Show the FM station list. No subscription required. Show display settings. Again, no subscription required. Vehicle device control. Apparently this is for things like climate control. You can say, turn on the air conditioning. You can set the temperature to a certain level, which I did try and works. You can say, turn up the fan speed. None of those require a subscription. Lastly, it looks like here we have point of interest or navigation, a POI shared through a smartphone app. This does require a subscription. Low fuel. This is kind of handy. Automatically notifies the user of low fuel level, if applicable, provides POI list nearby, ahead, or along a route that allows the user to select and navigate by touch. Both of those require a subscription. They're not going to be free, in other words. Now, another thing, you can set this up on your infotainment system as to whether it's on or not. So if yours doesn't work, you should probably check there to make sure that you have it set up. You can also set it up so that the system distinguishes between each side of the vehicle, you or the passenger, and you can mute the passenger. So in other words, if you've got somebody who thinks it's funny to sit over there in the passenger seat and start firing off commands to your truck, you can make it so they can't do that. I kind of like that feature. You know, I know some people who, if they were aware of it, they would sit in that passenger seat and probably drive me insane. Pretty cool features on this truck. I actually came across it by mistake myself. Recently, I've seen a lot of questions about it, but I was in the truck one day and having other vehicles that are capable of this, I asked it a question. I said, "Hey Toyota," and I think I asked it to take me somewhere or call somebody, something like that, and it actually popped up. Now, I will tell you, you have to be a little bit patient in the way that it operates, right? In other words, you say, "Hey Toyota," and then wait, you'll get a beep or a tone that lets you know that it's connected. Supposedly, according to the manual, you don't have to do that. You can just say, "Hey Toyota," and start speaking right away. But I will tell you, in my experience trying it out, testing it, it did not work every time until after I let that audible tone happen, where then I could just speak to what I wanted to. Is it a perfect system? No, it's not. There were a few times where I asked it something that I know it's capable of, and it would not understand me. Maybe I spoke weird, I don't know. It does say in the manual that if you have an accent, probably a heavy accent, that it's not going to work for you. It won't recognize your voice because it can't understand you. I just spoke clearly, and like I said, sometimes it picked it up and sometimes it didn't, particularly if I did not wait until I got that audible tone. Is it as good as, say, Alexa or Siri? I would say definitely not. They still have a little way to go, and it's too bad that in this day and age, they haven't perfected it enough so that it's at least as good as those devices. Maybe they need to speak to those people or bring in some engineers from those companies. And I'm sure they probably already have people from those companies working for them. Anyway, it's just a cool little thing that I think a lot of people aren't aware that they have voice control over certain features in the truck. Give it a try, see what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.